रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है?
Yeah.
तूने बोला नहीं।
मैं जानबूझ के लिए नहीं बोला।
ओ कोई ऐसी जॉब मिले पॉडकास्ट बनाना शुरू करूं, रिकॉर्डिंग शुरू हो गई है, बताओ भी ना। कभी खान मार्केट जा रहे हैं, खान चाचा खा रहे हैं, कभी स्टारबक्स को निकल रहे हैं, कोई काम धाम नहीं,
बस मम्मी बिल पे करती रहे।
फॉर्च्यूनर गाड़ी में बैठे हैं, 50-60 हजार रुपए कैश पड़ाओ, हेलमेट, गाड़ी पे लिखाओ आर्मी की, कोई फौजी की गाड़ी है।
यही रहे कि मम्मी पैसा देती रहे।
किराया आता
That has a weird rhythm to it, don't you?
Yeah.
मम्मी पैसा देती रहे, मम्मी पैसा देती रहे,
मम्मी बिल्स पे करे, मम्मी
हेलमेट
पे करे।
चलिए, let's start with our introduction. Today I'm seated here with my dear mother, who is a businesswoman and a soon-to-be best-selling author. Soon to be, because she's just published a book. It's called The Legends of the Muddled Land, and it will be a bestseller very soon. The sales are picking up. We will link the book in the bio of the video, and let's get started. Ma, off the bat, tell us about the book, tell us about yourself, tell us anything you want to share.
Well, I'm Jyoti.
तूने देखा mom's voice changes to a very formal like approach, like I'm not used to you being so nice, you can just be yourself.
Yeah, usually she's just like,
Yeah.
taking your case or telling you how useless you are.
मेरे को बोलने दोगे?
हाँ.
बोलने दोगे मेरे को? So, I'm Jyoti, and I've just written a book. Please read it. The book is called The Legends of Muddled Land. Why did I write a book? I wrote a book because I wanted to pay a tribute to my husband, who is no more. And today is his birthday. So I thought it'll be a befitting tribute to him if we talk about his book today, the book that I wrote as a tribute on him. This book is called The Legends of Muddled Land. These are the short stories. This is a collection of short stories. And these are the stories told to me by my husband. So these are his stories, and I've given it birds. So this is my short introduction. You want me to add something else?
If you choose to.
No, I'm okay. But then you'll say, बहुत बोलती हो. छोटा रखो. छोटा रख के बोलो. पूछो आगे. कुछ आगे बढ़ो. Take it further.
You can just keep talking. It's not a structured conversation.
I know when I talk, you say तुम बहुत बोलती हो, so I kept quiet after speaking giving my answer.
Yeah, we'll edit this out because it's seeming like a fight now.
No, it's not a fight. Come on, go ahead.
So now,
तुम अपना phone silent पे तो करो.
Did you read the book? I mean,
I've read a few chapters after it got published, and I've heard the rest of the stories from you, because whenever you were writing them, you would get us to review the chapters. So
what a poor commentary on me. My boys haven't read my book.
I have promoted its sales.
That's because I promised you the royalty.
Well, guys, if you don't read the book, at least buy it. Buy it. The royalty will come to us. You can keep the book, decorate it on your table, decorate it anywhere in your house. My point is, if we cross a certain number of sales and the books are placed in your shelves, and if you choose to open a few pages or not to open a few pages, the point is the book was still sold. The point is people will still come to your house, notice the book's name, notice the author's name, the message kind of spreads. It's like a YouTube video view. Every time you add a view, it counts somewhere. Every time we clock a sale for mom's book, it counts somewhere. It's like 200 rupees in the Kindle version and 399 on the regular paperback version. So just buy it. उतने की तुम लोग कॉफी पी जाते हो एक बार में, उतने की तुम लोग ऊबर ले लेते हो एक पार्टी में जहाँ पे तुम्हें जाना भी नहीं है, उतने के पैसे तुम किसी पे स्पेंड कर देते हो एक फालतू सी चीज पे जिसकी कोई यूटिलिटी नहीं होती, यहाँ पे एक बुक है. इट्स अ ब्यूटीफुल कलेक्शन ऑफ शॉर्ट स्टोरीज. आई एम शेमलेसली मार्केटिंग बिकॉज काइंड ऑफ माई जॉब, और मेरी मॉम को पैसा है, मतलब मेरे को पैसा आ रहा है, तो प्लीज खरीद लो बेशर्म.
To add to that, please read it also. Those
हाँ,
are
read it. It's a
really
good book.
those are short
But more
stories.
importantly, buy it.
I mean, they'll read it only once they buy it, na?
Yeah, so buy it
Why
first.
don't you guys talk about the little nuances that you're covering in the book, which are very, very, which are like the characteristic trait of our state, Bihar?
So is it a commentary on Bihar, UP? What like? So that's where my father used to hail from. The
Your mom.
mom is from Eastern UP, technically. Yeah, no, whatever. Yeah. So my point here is that uh, that part of the country has a certain type of people. They behave a certain way, and their peculiarities have come about in a way that it comes across as an interesting read, as a humorous read, maybe a few commentaries on society, and perhaps insightful. What do you have to say about that?
I don't think I'm trying to represent people of one state or one area in this book. These are about these stories are about those basic human emotions which are prevalent everywhere, right from Africa to Bihar to Manhattan to probably Singapore. So these stories don't have to do anything with the region that we hail from or we belong to. These stories are basically stories about human existence, their reaction, their experiences, and that's about it.
So you're trying to say that irrespective of regional differences, the human story behind it remains the same.
Absolutely.
The struggles remain the same.
Absolutely.
So that
Absolutely.
was the point
Yeah.
that I was trying to
Yeah.
extract from you.
Yeah, so that's. I mean, I hope I made it clear that
Yeah,
it doesn't have to do anything with the region which we belong
Absolutely.
to. Yes, the only thing I would say is a little what find commonality in all the chapter is the fact that I have tried to highlight the idiosyncrasies of this mythical land that I have created, which is called the Muddled Land. I have right in the beginning of my in the preface I have said that the people of Muddled Land have this particular peculiarity which really makes them stand apart from the rest of the people of different places that I know. Otherwise, there's no other thing that binds the Muddledians together apart from their idiosyncrasies and peculiarities. The human emotions remain the same irrespective.
But regional disparities do kind of exist, in my opinion. I don't want to.
They're all very superficial, I feel. Overtly, of course, you may have those stereotypes about Bihar, Biharis, UP, South, whatever. But they're very superficial demarcations. Otherwise, human beings, by and large, I feel are same everywhere.
That's fair. What inspired you to write the book?
Mm, Papa's enthusiasm about sharing these stories with me. He would come back from a very grueling day at the office and work, and just to unwind, he used to narrate these stories to me. And even if I was distracted, he would suddenly get into that burst of laughter because he kind of remembered one character from the past and he would like to share his story. So now that he's no more with us, I sometimes
For context, when my mom says Papa, she's talking to us, her sons. So she's referring to my dad and not her father. So we'll just clear that out. So you can, for the clarity of the audience, you can probably refer to him by his name or. Uh,
So I miss those days when Sanjeev would come back and talk about some character that he had met in his childhood or maybe in his service days. So, and those characters would be painted in front of me through his words and gestures and body language so beautifully that I could literally envisage those people because, he would be laughing and rolling over the floor, talking about them, and every word that he would say about those characters, that character would be built in front of me, even if that character existed 100 years
That's
ago.
true.
So
That reminds me of the story that he used to narrate a lot about this strongman slash Bahubali type of guy in his village called Ghanti. Why don't you narrate
Yeah.
that one?
Ghanti is somebody that I haven't written about, but I will be covering
Yeah.
Ghanti in my next book. So let's
Stay
read
tuned.
the
Yeah, we'll
Ghanti
keep that
Ghanti
story.
of history.
We'll
Right?
gatekeep that story.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So
gonna be a
Ghanti is a mystery right now.
Yeah.
If you want me to tell something about my favorite character, I will give you a brief of that favorite character.
Yeah, why don't you give a brief about
Yeah,
that character?
my favorite character in the book is Channu Babu. Uh, Channu Babu is a mix of everything you would like to see in a man. He is flamboyant, he is stylish, he's rich, he's ambitious. At the same time, he has all the wiles in him, all those negatives in him. Yet he comes across as such a formidable character that I simply love him. I love him for his swag. I love him for his larger than life living, and how conniving and cunning he could become when it came to pursuing his goal. So I really like Channu Babu. And of course, Shobia is another favorite of mine because, it's a love story based in the times when even writing letters or sending across the letters was not possible or not as easy. So you still had those errand boys running with the letter from one place to another. So Shobia is another favorite of mine, and I really, really love it.
Very interesting.
So
We
there are
will.
11 short stories. They're all interesting in their own way. Please read it, and I'm sure you really like the stories. It's fairly well written. I wouldn't say there's any. I mean, I like my own work, so
Giving partial context into the book is deliberate because we want to spark some interest in you, as in the audience, about the book. So we will not be sharing the whole story because that will kill the purpose of promoting the book, which is also a big intention of mine.
at the cost of sounding immodest, I will categorize this book as unputdownable.
So, what? Tell us more about the time you were growing up in. How was boarding school? My mom went to the Birla Vidyapit
In
boarding
Pilani,
school
in
in
Pilani.
Pilani,
Yeah,
and then you went to LSR.
yeah.
Tell us a bit about those days
The
in
hostel
brevity.
experience. Yeah, the hostel
Yes.
experience. I stayed in hostel for around 13, 14 years of my life.
And what would girls in the 70s and 80s in hostel
See, I have some of
do?
the best friends from those times, but because I've stayed in the hostel, I never wanted to send any of you to the hostel.
Yeah.
So I may, according to you, being the mother who's heard a lot of trauma on you, but the trauma you faced in the hostel was another level. I think if there was for one good girl, there used to be one bad bully also. So my initial years in the hostel were struggle for survival and struggle from a struggle where it just meant that I'm trying to duck one bully from another. So to avoid the bullies, you had to be the most inconsequential hostler. Because if you did something, if you came in their vision for your feat or your folly, you've had it. You've had it. And I don't think even the bullies realized that they were being bullies. And the best part is when I reconnect to some of them are such submissive human beings today, and some of them are as delusional as they were around that time. So sometimes you really wonder if time teaches you anything. I don't think time teaches you much. I think it's the circumstances that you go through kind of teaches you a lot of
Yeah,
things.
you can meet people who are very aged and have had no experience in life. And then you can meet people who may be in their early 30s or maybe just 40 or something, which is fairly young. And they might have seen a full life full of ups and downs. So I think experience is way more relative, and not an absolute metric. You can circumstances have a bigger role basically. I can probably I can probably count a few 18, 19-year olds who probably have more experience than me. I'm 25, I could have more experience probably than some 32, 35-year olds also. So it's all about where life has placed you, at least at this moment or leading up to this moment.
So when I met your papa, he was around 29 years old. And believe me, you, he was smarter than any of his older relatives. He was so much more wiser than most of the people who were maybe 20, 30, 40 years older to him. So it has to do with your inner core, it has to do with your core and your circumstances. A lot of things actually go into shaping the human character. But I also feel that it's a very conscious effort. Evolving as a human being is a conscious effort. Sometimes we just let go of it.
I see that in myself also. An immense maturity.
Are you talking about
Disproportionately high to
rampant
my age.
indulgence in hedonistic activities?
No comments.
Ask me that question.
No comments.
कोई ऐसी जॉब मिले 25 साल की उम्र में भी 50 साल के आदमी से ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस आ जाए, कोई काम धाम नहीं. There are a bunch of memes that show a group of kids wearing hard hats and fluorescent jackets which are worn in construction sites, and the caption is usually something like, when you look for 10 years of experience in graduates. So that's how early you will have to start working straight out of school, because we live in times of bureaucrat capitalism. I'm not even sure if I know what that means. It just sounded like a fancy word to say. My point is that we're just out here treating each other like resources.
Where
Two.
was that conversation going? You edit all this.
नहीं बेटी करते रहो ना तुम लोग बहुत ज्यादा.
मेरी कॉन्वर्सेशन यहाँ जा रही है कि मुझे जो शब्द है ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज उससे प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि ह्यूमंस आर नॉट रिसोर्स. लैंड इज अ रिसोर्स, वाटर इज अ रिसोर्स, मिनरल इज अ रिसोर्स. Humans are humans.
But according to the social contract, we are inevitably going to be treated as resources because that is one of the ways of keeping the society afloat.
And society doesn't violate the social contract often enough.
Too much in semantics, but I know for sure that human being is the best resource. Human beings are the best resource.
No, human beings are humans. We can use resources. We should not be treated as such.
To add on what mom is saying, Japan did not have a lot of natural resources, and they basically use themselves as like the greatest resource.
Rest of the resource that you're talking about ceased to be resource if the humans are not.
But look at what it did to them. Highest rate of suicides.
Yeah, the Japanese aren't the best example of total well-being. They're a great success story in economic progress. But would you look at Japan as a case in point for good mental health?
I can't talk about these issues.
Yay!
Suicide is not a joke, Raj.
No, I don't make it sound so trivial and frivolous.
Yay!
You're doing harakiri. Okay.
Oh, tell us about that story where Nana, when he reached Tokyo. Oh, tell us something about your father. Your father was also a great man.
Yeah. He was one of the first. He was from the one of the first batches of Indian School of Mines.
Yeah.
And his story is that when he passed his what was it called then? I think his intermediate. He was sent to BHU. So he joined BHU.
Banaras Hindu University.
Yeah. He joined BHU because his brother, Nana lost his father when he was very young, probably when he was in his 10th. Nana lost his father. In a very filmy way, he stood first in the state, he goes home only to realize that he's lost his father. Shut up.
Sorry.
talking about tragedy.
Filmy, I know filmy बोला था तुमने.
नहीं
So मैं like if filmy as
वैसे
script
मैं अपने फ्यूचर जनरेशंस को मेरी लाइफ की सारी पर्सनल ट्रेजेडीज सिनेमैटिक इफेक्ट के लिए यूज करने की परमिशन देता हूँ.
नहीं.
You know, मैं
So
तो
will
वो
you let me finish?
yeah, before you finish, I saw this
तो
other
आप
post
clear कर दिए time rate.
which really
Sorry.
which really resonated. I saw this other post that really. Why are you saying na 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 na? मेरे भी नाना थे हाँ.
That's like no in a current job.
But this post which really resonated with me was that I will when I die I will
You
let
don't let me speak, and it's supposed to
when
be
I
mine.
die I will let people use my death for personal gain as much as they want, even if I wasn't close to them. So if I die, you can post my picture in your office group and say that my best friends died. I'm going to be taking a week off.
Why are we getting into this thing? Why are you being so morbid?
Anyway, let me talk about Nana. No?
Yeah, finish up.
Usops every this thing. And then,
Like I'm going to usurp all the property one day.
that I won't let. I mean, I won't let you do that.
Oi, Raj,
Mumbai has taken what do you call it? Lesson from Singhanias.
Raymond.
तो उतनी
Singhania ही तो था ना,
उतनी बड़ी
Singhania.
कंपनी भी खोलनी पड़ेगी.
मैं खोलूंगी. Don't underestimate the power of a
और मैं
common
हथियार
woman.
लूंगा.
हाँ,
Anyway, back to Nana.
So back to Nana. So Nana lost his father, and then naturally his elder brothers became his mentor, his guides. So the elder brothers really wanted Nana to take his civil services exams and get into bureaucracy. So Nana, the story it's a very interesting story. So Nana takes admission in BHU. Probably he wants to pursue economics or something. So he goes to BHU. And the brothers, two elder brothers of Nana, they come to drop him to the hostel. And on their return from the Banaras Hindu University to Balia, where they came from, they overhear a conversation between two co-passengers. So the co-passengers were telling each other, IS तो ठीक है, I mean उस समय तो ICS रहा होगा, ICS तो ठीक है, मगर अभी सबसे ज्यादा पैसा जो है ना वो माइनिंग इंजीनियर्स कमाता है. And next station, the two of them disembark, take another bus back to BHU in Banaras, only to tell Nana that in the next entrance exams of ISM or whichever was the way of getting into the ISM, he should qualify it. He should start studying for it so that he can qualify for it. Nana realized that his maths wasn't so good, so he got a little nervous. He didn't know how he will he'll clear those exams, but he started a crash course in maths. He was good, like he just said, those were the days when you were not supposed to be too confident of any of your things. So he thought that his maths is good, but not as good as to be able to crack those exams. So he took crash course, and he's the one who told me, when you look in the eye of anything that you find fearful, that fearful thing becomes really, really small. The closer you go to something that scares you, the smaller that fear factor becomes. So I looked at maths as a huge monster initially. Then I started walking closer and closer and closer to the monster. The closer I went to the monster shrunk. So that is something that I heard from Nana. And I thought it was very, very motivational, So the more you look in the eye of something that fears you, that you're fearful of or scares you, the smaller and punier that factor or that object that fears you becomes. So Nana not only aced that, Nana not just passed that exam, he aced it. He was the All India topper. That's the story of Nana. That's why Nana became.
That's why I raised the conversation about my maternal grandfather, because I want you to share with the audience his experience at the Tokyo airport. Because you were talking about exceptional suicide rates in Japan, and I remember you sharing with me a little story of how he almost got robbed at the Tokyo airport.
Never.
Yes.
This is not Nana.
This was Nana. You told me. He was in Tokyo. He was in Japan, right? and he almost got robbed, and the person got caught, and later on he found out that that person committed harakiri because he had brought like so much dishonor to his family.
Okay. Now I get it. So this is not Nana's story. Nana heard this from his counterpart in Japan.
Okay.
So the counterpart in Japan was telling him about this concept of harakiri in Japanese. So Japanese, when they are really ashamed of the conduct or the misconduct, or maybe whatever reason, they commit suicide by doing harakiri. Yeah, what he did, he just showed you, is what harakiri is done like. So Nana talks about the story that his counterpart told him. His counterpart said that he came across a thief who was being chased by some foreigners because they thought that he's stolen something. And don't forget, I'm talking about early 50s. So
No, 60s.
Nana went to Japan probably later 50s or early 60s. This is much before my birth.
Okay.
So according to the counterpart, that guy who was supposedly or presumably a thief committed harakiri in front of all the chasers because he thought he's put himself to so much of shame and ignominy that he had no right to live. So he kind of did harakiri in front of the counterpart. That is how the counterpart told him and explained him what harakiri was.
I have a weird amount of respect for that concept, though. I, in a very morbid way, I don't support the idea of taking your own life if you bring dishonor. But the fact that you place so much weightage on the impact of your actions on your family, of your actions on your culture, your society, I understand it. I don't support it. I understand the will to be so serious about honor.
No, my take is totally different. My age and my experience has taught me that never ever take yourself too seriously. There's no point taking yourself too seriously. When you attach too much of importance to your individuality, your region, your parent, your lineage, your legacy, you're taking yourself too seriously. Eventually, we are all travelers on this earth, and we will do our bit and we will vanish. So while you're here, just live your life. I'm not saying this to make you guys complacent, more complacent than you guys are. But having said that, just don't take yourself too seriously. That is the best survival.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to put up a warning that will, by the end of the podcast, we'll be discussing about certain sensitive topics like, taking your life.
Yeah, we can add a trigger warning. It's the general. Yeah, it's a general practice now, right? So, and understandably, these aren't pleasant conversations. Yeah, I agree with you. In the sense that we should not take ourselves too seriously, but I also think that we can't view another culture through our moral lens.
No, I'm not passing judgment or on Japanese, culture or whatever you may call. Taking your life can never be something that can be looked upon as a very good cultural aspect. Like if culture and traditions were so important, sati had to be. It was done away with.
Very fair.
Similarly,
Fair
you
point.
don't have to kill yourself just because you thought you put yourself down, or you put your entire community down, or you have put the entire Japanese tag down.
Granted,
So-
yeah, those are very fair.
Traditions and culture need not necessarily always be good and admirable. Something that is not admirable, something that is coming is kind of pulling you back, not letting you grow, should always be discarded.
It's a very
Those are
fair,
most
very fair
dispensable
argument.
things, yeah. Those are very dispensable attributes.
And as much as I hate to say it, if it was being looked at as a debate, I would have had to concede and admit
You
defeat.
always have to. Good.
माइक उठा लो हाँ
अब
ठीक है
ठीक.
उसमें चिल्लाना भी जरूरी नहीं था.
तो I think we can
Wrap it up.
conclude.
All right, let's wrap it up then.
Okay, thank you, Ivy.
Let's wrap it up
Thank
then.
you. Buy my
It's the
book.
first
Thank
one.
you.
Love it.
Thank you.
Bye,
Ek
mom's
second.
book. एक बार दिखा
Give
दो.
me just a
Book
minute,
ka
guys.
dikha do, cover
This
dikha do.
is the book.
Yeah.
I will be adding the Amazon link. You have to buy it. Please. Please
Let me
please
say
खरीद
something
लो.
about the
Please
cover, na?
खरीद लो, please.
Please खरीद लो.
Please खरीद लो.
Please.
This is a banyan tree. And Cindy was my banyan tree. That is why the banyan tree is on.
Aww.
Rakho.
So I think that concludes the pilot. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Buy the book. You will not
Yeah.
regret it.
And-
It's 300 rupees.
399.
399.
Did you introduce yourself? Did you give your name?
My name is Rajwardhan Singh.
My name is Jyoti Singh.
We didn't give our names, right?
दे देंगे? दे दिया.
दे दिया.
Link में डाल देंगे, हाँ.
पूरा पॉडकास्ट शुरू कर दिया, नाम ही नहीं बताया. चलो, बाय.